Okay, introduce yourself. I'm Jane. I'm a somatic healing practitioner. I moved to the States in 2016. I first lived in Texas and moved with my family to Pittsburgh. I have a 9-year-old son who really changed my life in the best way possible. He definitely was the one that healed me and brought me back into my heart. Even talking about this makes me very emotional. But I felt or during my healing journey, I really noticed that we spend a lot of our time moving away from us until there is certain experiences, good or bad, that allow us to come back to ourselves. That's definitely something my son did for me. And really, after we moved to Pittsburgh, I got divorced. And that really started my healing journey, where I was able to question my parts in certain relationship patterns, my parts in certain beliefs I created for myself about life, about love, about relationships. So it was really for me stepping into or coming back to my heart and allowing myself to work through my process myself and working through my healing journey. And that opened the door for me where I felt called to share what I've learned with others and to allow them a space where they can come back to themselves and back to their hearts. So when I started my own healing journey, there was COVID. And I started taking some online classes for sound healing, which brought me in the space where I felt really called to dive in deeper. I had a meditation practice since I can remember, but really incorporating sound and using the benefits of really calming the mind and calming the whole body up to a cellular level really made me feel called to dive into that deeper. So this is where I started. I first started offering sound healing classes. The classes that I experienced through Instagram and virtually during COVID, I got into it more and just did the same training like the woman that was a facilitator that I found online. Started offering here sound healing first, which was really a process because I felt back then no one was doing it. And I also feel Pittsburgh is open to healing modalities, but it's always on the fence. There is the space where it's open to like new ideas, but it's really hard to get into it on a deeper level where people are really just like, oh, that's really something that is cool to do. And now I feel like sound healing is everywhere. So I feel like I was like someone starting sound healing, and even in yoga studios, it was really hard to actually find people that would actually want to offer that modality on a monthly basis. So I started with sound healing and then from there got into breathwork. I love breathwork. That totally changed my life and my healing journey on a deeper level because I feel like allowing yourself to utilize the breath really allows you to step back into your power because there's so many healing modalities where you have other people holding space for you, so you have the connection to other people and really see that in the context of other people holding space for you to create a healing experience. But with breathwork, it's specifically you doing all the work. It's really you connecting with yourself, you bringing up certain experiences that allow you to reconnect to a deeper truth that you carry within and create that healing for yourself. So that's a long version of me introducing myself, but I'm a somatic healing practitioner. I really love helping people to regulate their nervous system and heal body and mind by working with their body and working on a deeper level with themselves. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how authentically are you living online and offline? Well, I'm sure I could probably live a little more authentically, but I would say I definitely live what I teach. Meditation is a big part of my daily life. Sound is. Even my son, he loves sound. Like he plays the balls in our house. He runs around with the rain stick. So he does all the things. So we really try to implement everything that I offer for others also in our daily life. We even have like breathwork practices at home when we're like activated. That even my son, he's 9, and he's just like, I think I gotta take some deep breaths. So it's cool to see that even like a little kid, because he's so in tune to what I'm doing, to do that too. So I really feel I do live very authentically, yeah. But through my own healing journey, I feel like it's really this process of allowing yourself to just live the way it feels aligned for you. Perfect. Okay. You help people regulate their nervous system and integrate trauma. What brought you to this work? Yeah, as mentioned, I definitely, and I mean, everyone does. Everyone carries a lot of trauma, a lot of experiences that move them out of balance. They might not be that in tune to it, but we all carry dysregulation with us. It doesn't even have to be huge trauma that we experienced, because every body is different. So what feels not stressful for one person is very dysregulating and creates trauma in someone else's body. So for me, it was really sitting with what was showing up for me in the past, bringing that up and really not having even a word for it, what I was doing, until I got into the somatic breathwork modality, where I actually found words for what I was doing on my own. It was actually a very interesting process, because when I started my healing journey, I would just always come back to beliefs and patterns and would just go into meditation and sit with the fact, why am I feeling this way? Why is there so much sadness coming up? Why there's a rage coming up or anger? And then I would go into it and feel it, and it would be released. And later on, I learned, oh, this is what nervous system regulation actually does. It's you connecting with your body, allowing it to be felt and to come back to balance. And this is why I offer what I offer. And this is what nervous system regulation is all about. It's about you allowing yourself to feel what shows up in your inner world, allowing it to be felt and released so you can come back to balance. What is your mission? Why do you do what you do? I don't really know if I actually have a mission, or maybe it is my mission to really help people connect back to the sense that they are their own healer. Because I feel like this is the most important and the most empowering space to be in, where you can just know that there's very simple tools and modalities that you don't need anyone else for. And this is why I specifically love breathwork. And I always tell people, you can just sit by yourself, take some cleansing breaths in and out of the mouth for 3 minutes, and release whatever is showing up for you. You feel completely different. And to have the space where people actually come back to, wow, I can actually heal on my own and be fine. That's a beautiful space to be in. So maybe I would call that my mission. Why I do what I do? Because I know how it feels when you feel very disconnected from yourself, and how everything changes when you come back to yourself and back to your heart. You talk about how the body holds stress and trauma. What are some signs someone might notice in their body when they're out of alignment? I would say there's a lot of signs that someone is out of alignment. For me, it's intense emotions showing up that allows you, or that give you the opportunity to just take a step and go inward and just reflect and question why they're showing up for you. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of us, we're really disconnected. So it's really hard for me when people are still in the beginning of their healing journey to say, notice how your body is feeling and if your body is tensing up. Because if people are really disconnected, it's really hard, because for them, that's just normal. So bringing it up as focus on tension or focus on heaviness in your chest, that might be their normal. So that might be really hard. But I feel like the moment you really bring up an intense emotion, that's a good moment for you to take a closer look. This is where I always say, if you have the opportunity, and we all do, we don't take that opportunity to just pause for a moment, because we don't have to respond. We don't have to immediately react to something. We always have that moment, even if we're not used to. When I'm very triggered, and everyone is triggered sometimes, you always have the moment to be like, I feel very dysregulated. I got to step back a moment and sit with it, or just feel into it. Just leave the room, go to the restroom, or go to the other space, or go to your car and just take a moment and just sit with it. So for me, a big sign that is very probably something most people can relate to, when there's triggers showing up, because that's your sign there's something coming up where you could have been balanced, but you're not. So there's something connected to trauma, connected to a past experience that still needs to be reflected on and healed. You say people have always been the key to their own healing. What does it mean to you? Yeah, as mentioned, I always want people to actually experience that they are the key to their own healing, because there's no one outside of you that can heal you. There's no one, and this is why I feel like it's so important to also always question relationship patterns, because there might be someone completely new, like especially in a partnership, coming into your life, and you feel like, oh my God, it's finally someone different. But then after some time, all those unhealed parts of us, they creep back in, because we still need to work through them. Because there is nothing outside of us. There is maybe something outside of us that can shift something for us for a moment, but not in general. There's always those parts within us that we still have to face ourselves to heal and to change it. So there's really nothing outside of us that will ever long-term change something for us. It's always us sitting with what is showing up for us and using everyone outside of us as a mirror for our own healing. Because I always come back to triggers, because I think it's so important to notice someone who's triggering you. And most of the time when people are very disconnected, they might not see that. But if there's someone who's triggering you with a response, and they would just be like, yeah, but they were just super annoying, or they were just mean. But if someone else does not have that response to whatever someone is bringing to you, that's your sign that something internally is activated. Because if I cannot be neutral, that has something to do with me and not with the other person. So it's really always about sitting with us instead of pushing everyone outside of us away, thinking they're just the problem. No, it's always something internally. They might still be mean. They might still not be someone we want to keep in our life. But what it does within us when we are activated through that experience is something we can only heal internally. And this is why we are the key to our own healing, because we always want to go to a space where we feel regulated, and we can only do that within. Perfect. Okay. What's the biggest life lesson you are learning right now? What are you learning to love about yourself? What's the biggest life lesson? So there was recently an experience that I had, and I responded very different than I would normally do. And there was like a whole healing experience in it, without getting into the details of it. But I feel sometimes it's very important to just stand in your power and just let things be. Because you don't always have to respond to everything. Sometimes it's also just important to stand in your own energy and just remain in that energy. Because sometimes you don't always have to respond or say anything. Sometimes it's also enough to just walk away from something. So that's what I learned, or what I'm learning right now. And be good with that. Because I feel in the past, I might would have done something similar, but I would have felt bad about it. But it was the first time for me where I was good because I felt there's nothing else that needs to be said. I said my piece and I'm good with that. And I don't have to respond as an old version of myself. I can just let things be and let people see me the way they want to see me and be okay with that. What I'm learning to love about myself. That's a good question. What do I learn to love about myself? Allowing myself to let things unfold. I'm a very impatient person. That's like one of my things that I'm still learning too. But really allowing myself to trust more and loving for things to just unfold for me. Learning to be in the space where I can just allow myself to not have everything figured out. Allowing myself to be gentle with myself, which is really hard. When you're very impatient, it's very hard to be gentle with yourself because I learned in my past to always keep pushing through and I'll be fine, but allowing myself to allow myself grace for myself and to just sit and be in that impatience, but trusting that it will unfold at the right time. How's it felt to be seen in the hot seat? Any final thoughts? I just love being here. I just feel very, very seen, very much held in a safe space. And yeah, it's just beautiful to just share some thoughts about life, about healing with you today.